Girl, hit it.
Oh my gosh, there's a butterfly on your shirt. That's so cute. Do you have insurance? When is he gonna propose?
It's not investing already. Hey, you booked a hotel.
Hey, adult already. Hello.
Hello, girly girls, and welcome back to another episode of Adulting with Former Children with us, the Former Children. Today's gonna be a fun episode, and we are gonna be dishing the dirt. We're gonna be dishing the dirt today on relationships and how to be
I'm ready.
an adult in a relationship.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this episode because this is just so juicy. Yeah,
Yes.
if the previous episodes were more like educational and like we want to learn and be knowledgeable and stuff, this is the episode where we just like
Be trashy.
Go
Today
all
is
ham!
trashy day.
Just say what you
Alright.
want.
Yes, exactly. And so for the people who are just joining us today for the first time, this podcast is by Zoda Pop. It's called Adulting with Former Children. And this is where we share our growing pains and where we learn from our mistakes as we try to become adults. And all right, so Jin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jin, and I've been in a long-term relationship since 2017, and the previous ones don't count.
I mean, Clemens, what about you?
Yeah, Clemens here. So I'm technically engaged because I got a BTO, and my relationship so far is 3 years plus.
Hi everyone, I'm Iyang, and I manipulate, I mansplain, and I man whore.
Slay King.
Yes. So, you gotta provide a little bit of balance here. So, like, 2 wholesome relationships, and then there's me.
Oh my gosh, you finally
Okay.
gotta share about your relationship?
No. No, but okay, I mean, all 3 of us, we are all in relationships, and I think we've all we are all in relationships that are past like the 2-year mark, which I think like people start getting married at like 2 years, 3 years, Yeah, so
Depends.
I mean, not everyone. So
Yeah.
that's why we are here to talk about, why our relationships have failed in the past and what probably makes this one different. Some of the learning lessons that we've had, maybe the
From the-
results.
from the
Yes,
past,
from the past
yeah.
relationships. That's why this one has worked, and we are here to share them.
Even
And
there's
also
still
share
some
the tea.
even there's still some mistakes in this
Yeah lah.
relationship.
There is no such thing
Young
as a
knows,
perfect relationship. Oh, I know
As
every
in,
10.
no, but
no.
mine, like mine, because
Yeah,
I sometimes
I
tell you
know.
about mine.
Okay.
Yes,
so
let's get into it today. So we will start off by maybe defining what a mature relationship is to you guys.
So I guess we are starting with the good things about relationships and like what made our current relationships work so far,
Past
right?
2 year mark.
Yeah.
Same.
I feel like to me, a mature relationship is basically giving a lot of space to your partner as an individual and also being supportive in their growth.
Yes.
So I think like perhaps previously when I was in immature relationships, I would always think of like relationships as something where like you give me, I give you, you give me, I give you. Yes,
Yes.
like that's true. But then sometimes you just really need to leave the other person alone for them to like discover themselves or and make force them to grow up and grow old together with you as well. Yeah, so it's also keeping yourself accountable to be a good person for yourself and also for your partner. And and also not letting the other person hold you back.
Yes.
And vice
yes.
versa.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe for me it's like close to 4 years in my relationship, right? What I've discovered is that you initially when you get together you have that strong attraction, then you got that whole honeymoon phase,
Yeah.
right? I do believe that after that the phase does wear off, right? And then it no longer stays as a relationship where because I love you then I must be with you kind of thing. It becomes something that you have to continuously work in, where you have to put in effort and your other partner has to put in the effort as well to carry on relationship. So once one person like feels like neglected, right? Like he or she doesn't feel like cared for as much, right? I think that's where the relationship start to break down, and we have a lot of quarrels based on that lah. So I ended up realizing that it's really a continuous like process. I'm not sure about
A continuous work in progress.
correct.
I mean, I
Takes 2 hands to
totally
clap
agree with
lah.
that.
Yeah.
But do your partners agree with the fact that you think that the honeymoon phase will wear out?
I think, I mean, judging from what my girlfriend is.
No,
is it-
pass.
Oh,
Let's
pass.
not talk about the later your girlfriend listen to this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, hey,
I almost saw my
Clemus Pang
Instagram story.
Gore. Clemus Pang Gore, what the fuck
I
did
love
you
you.
just say?
I love you, babe.
Okay.
I'm saying this.
Like, okay, I do believe that there are past relationships that maybe not for you guys, but maybe for me, like past relationships that have failed because maybe one of us, it might have been me also, that felt that probably was me, felt that like you know, if I don't feel the passion anymore, that means like, you know, I don't love you anymore, I don't want to be with you anymore.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I have had relationships in the past where I felt like, oh, you know, the fire is not burning anymore. I'm done, and then I'll tap out. You know, and I mean, I think part of growing up is also learning and understanding that, you know, relationships are to be worked on, and it's not just about the fun lah. It's not just about the fire. It's like the steamy.
I letting you guys know it's a lot of effort. Just by the way, it's a lot of effort to keep a relationship. Huh?
Okay, sorry.
I think that's society.
Someone has trauma
Yeah, man.
today
I love you,
to dish, but yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean, and I think maybe for me, let me share. So I think for me, it's very similar to what Jin has said, and about like not just not being held back, but it's about feeling whole. It's about feeling whole, even though you're not in a relationship, and even if you're in a relationship, right? Like you have to be a whole person. Like two of you, you and your partner are both people on their own.
Yeah.
And I think that if someone revolves their identity around you, I think that's a very big red flag for me. Like if I think
separate people.
Yes, correct. You are separate people choosing to be together. It's not like I have no choice. I cannot live without you. Wow, fuck. Anyone says that to me, right? Delete, block. I'm leaving you
my life.
straight away.
Extinguish.
Cannot. I think that's a very, very big red flag for me. I mean, we will get back to talking about red flags and green flags later because I think I have a shit to say, and some of it is myself lah.
And that's apart from being clingy lah. Being clingy is still okay, but
I think clingy. Okay, so what causes someone to be clingy?
I don't know. I've never been that clingy partner.
You have never been a clingy partner.
I think so lah.
Yeah. So I think clinginess.
Clingy.
Cling cling. But I think like being clingy is, I guess, a symptom of insecurity, and being insecure in a relationship. I think you have to dig and find out what the root of it is. Is it something that you did, or something that they did, or something that y'all didn't do?
Or people do to them. Yeah.
Some past trauma and whatever. Yeah. So I think I'm a very like independent person, and I'm also someone who puts a lot of priority in my work. So maybe that's why like I cannot stand people who might be a bit more clingy, or who feel like they're, because you know the clinginess is them vying for your attention,
Right.
and my priorities and my attention lie a lot in my work. If it comes to a point where I have to keep choosing, or I have to keep feeling bad because I have to choose work over my relationship, then I will feel like this relationship is holding me back, which is your point, right?
Yeah. No, so I think in a sense, I'm not telling people to prioritize their work over their partners, or like prioritize everything else above your relationship. I think it's really more of like, you shouldn't feel so paralyzed by your relationship that it stops your own growth. Like you have to be ready to have difficult conversations with your partner. You have to maybe like disappoint them from time to time, but you always like make up for it as well. Yeah. True. Yeah, so it's not really necessarily always being selfish and choosing yourself over your partner, but it's really in that moment in time, the decision that you make, okay, sure, could be for work, but what happens after that? Like, what do you do to make up for that lost time in a sense, or like make up to your partner? I think that's important in keeping a healthy relationship. Yeah, and also keeping expectations. Hold yourself accountable to a certain standard, and try to always hit that lah.
And so I mean, for all of us, none of us here have like relationships that lasted from young, right? So I think people, like I respect people who have had relationships for like 12, 13 years from like early secondary school until now, and then they get married. I think that's crazy because, you know, as a person you grow, and from secondary school, I guess the person that you are then and the person that you are now are very different people. And for them to grow together, I think it's very precious.
Yeah.
And I think it's
is.
very crazy.
Yeah.
So like, my question based on this is, why do you all feel like your past relationships failed?
So why isn't my boyfriend from 15 years old my current boyfriend now?
Yeah, technically.
Maybe that's my question.
Yeah, okay. Let me just start. Okay, so like personal experience dating, I've had 3 boyfriends in my lifetime. My current boyfriend is my third, so I had 2 relationships before this. And my first relationship was when I was 15, and I think I really just dated him because he was hot. Like I thought he was hot.
It's great.
I thought he was good looking. But then like looks really, they don't last. As in,
Is he ugly now?
it's not that he's ugly now. Like actually I don't even know how he looks like now because it's been so long since I saw him. But the issues that I had in my first relationship was a bit of control. Like I think he had the need to control me almost because he was a year older than me as well. So I generally followed what he wanted me to do with him and stuff like that. But as time went on, I felt like I lost my agency. When it came to a relationship, we never really did things that I wanted to do. Yeah. And the relationship ended in like 10 months. Yeah. And I think I got over it really quick. Yeah, so then my second relationship was really like the one that affected me quite badly because I saw a lot of similarities between me and my second boyfriend. Like we shared like Korean culture and stuff like that. I was close to his family and spent a lot of time together. But that relationship also fell through because I feel like I wasn't doing things that I wanted to do.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of the times I was following him along in his family meals. I was going over to his place to play with his family and his dogs and yeah. So my second relationship was also 10 months long.
Right.
But I think it's because of the bond that I created with his family. It felt kind of hard to move on.
Because you're breaking up with more than one person.
Yeah. So I genuinely grieved over the loss of many relationships in my second relationship, even though it was quite short-lived. And then 3 or 4 months after that, I met James, and the rest is history.
What about you, Clemens?
Yeah, I mean, like what I mentioned earlier, right? When it takes like two people, like both parties, to put in effort. I think it's after like we went, because we got together in secondary 3, right? Then we moved on to JC, different JCs. Then it's like doing J1, and she became involved in her own circle of friends. I became involved in my own. Then we met up less, and then like, but to me at the point of time, I was just like, I just felt like comfortable. Like feeling comfortable was also quite a red flag after a while. Yeah, now I realized. So being comfortable, we just like met like, you know, maybe like once or twice every week. After that, we really drifted apart lah. Yeah, to a point that I never really like talk to her daily anymore. I mean, we could have if we both put in more effort, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
So that was your first relationship?
Yeah.
Then?
So right now, my current one is my second official one lah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so it wasn't a very dramatic breakup lah, you two.
Okay. Maybe. Oh yeah, I should share my breakup story. There.
Okay.
So oh my god, guys, how can I forget? Okay.
Bang table.
Okay. This is the tea camps, right? Okay, so basically, like, it was really funny.
Wait,
so
are
basically,
you all still friends?
or
like,
I think we not talk
first
anymore
style?
lah, but we are okay.
It's okay. She probably won't listen to this podcast anyway.
She was yeah. She won't lah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, anyway, so basically, what happened was that, like, after a while, I felt like she was a bit cold. Right? Then I was like, okay, maybe something is up. Because I felt too comfortable. I thought maybe it was normal, right? After that, she just like, one word reply, that kind of thing. Or like very bad reply, like very sad reply. Like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Okay, so then after that, it's very funny. Then on the day itself, right, of the breakup, me and my dad was like watching this show about like some love story, like some romance movie. After that, I was like reflecting on myself, like, oh my god, I just realized that I've been such a bitch, right? Like, I haven't been putting enough effort into this relationship to keep it going. Then after that, then her replies was still very cold. Then I decided to call her up lah, like talk about it. that became a breakup session.
Oh wow.
When like I wanted to start fixing it, right?
Right.
I couldn't anymore.
Oh, because
it was
she's
damn bad.
already left.
So
correct.
do you feel a lot of regret?
Yeah. It was damn bad lah. So I think for me, like there was that basically that one whole week I just felt very depressed and I couldn't eat properly as well. Like I ate like half a bowl of rice and like maybe some Thai. Then I don't eat anymore, kind of thing.
There.
Yeah, I usually eat a lot lah.
TMI. For me, right, the day that I realized that I had grown distant from my second boyfriend was after I watched La La Land.
Oh my god, it sounds like a scene story.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
did you break up in 2017?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyways.
Wait, I can't remember what
Sorry, but
maybe. Yeah.
I just remember watching La La Land, and the story of La La Land is that like Emma Stone lives her career as an actress, and then Ryan Gosling has his own like dreams to open a jazz club and stuff like that, right? Over the course of the movie, they just grow distant while they are both, like working on their passions and stuff. It's like it's such a real like interpretation of many of our relationships. And if you truly believe that the person's dreams are worth chasing, right, you shouldn't hold them back. But then at the same time, if you feel like that person chasing their dreams is making them grow distant from you, then you also have to accept the fact that maybe this relationship
Just not the
isn't
right
for
time.
you.
Sometimes it's not about the right time, not the
Yeah. So like I remember coming out of the cinema after watching La La Land. I was just so sad. I think maybe like 2 or 3 weeks or maybe like 1 month after watching the movie, my ex broke up with me. Yeah, and I was like in so much denial. I can joke about it,
it's
but
a stage of healing. It's okay.
Yeah. No. I can joke about it now, but like to 18-year-old me, right, it was like the biggest traumatic experience of my life. Yeah. The breakup was so bad. Like we broke out at the bottom at my house. And I was so pissed off at him that before he drove off, right, he actually got me a wallet. I took out all the things in the wallet and I threw the wallet into his car. And I went up, I saw my dad, and he was like, "Why are you crying?" Then I said, "I don't have my wallet anymore."
It's not because you break up, it's not the wallet anymore.
I don't have my wallet anymore.
What a metaphor.
Yeah, it was a metaphor lah. Then the next day, my dad brought me out and he bought me a Prada.
That's how you get over.
Material girl. Okay, so the thing is that even at 18, right? 2017, you were 18 or 19. Like you were already
19, yeah.
thinking about marriage, or you were dating to marry, or were both of you like thinking about marriage already?
It's
when
more
you were
like
dating.
Never think about. I think back then never think about marriage. Like it was more like try things out. But like
Try things out.
if could get married, then get married. Kind of thing. It wasn't like,
Like, it was like
I'm gonna marry you if I date you right now. Kind of thing.
So then the question is like, was it for fun then? Like, would you date people just because it was fun? You know, like, because there's a difference between like I'm dating someone and then when I get into a relationship with them, it means that you want to end up with them sooner or later, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're right. Like you can't be like, I want you to be my girlfriend, but I don't want to marry you. Like it doesn't. Does it make sense?
What
think
about
maybe
you?
At 16 years old, it might make sense.
I think when you're young, you just really don't think about marriage. Like, for me, I didn't think about marriage. It's more like the circumstances were right. We had feelings for one another, want to give it a try, and then just naturally got together because we want to be with each other at that moment of time. But I didn't really think about, I'm going to break up in the future, or for sure, like I don't marry you, kind of thing. It was just like, if it goes well,
right.
it goes well. Yeah, it felt right. If it goes well, it goes well. Yeah, and it was the first. So to be honest, I wouldn't have thought about marriage. To be honest, yeah.
Well, for me, right, when James and I first started dating, he would cringe at the M word. He would call it the M word.
Like marriage.
Yeah, he would call it the M word.
Wow.
Yeah, I would sort of like joke with him and be like, yeah, so like what if we get married like in like a few years time? And he's like, whoa. What the M word. And then I don't know since when, but he started being more enthusiastic about the idea. Yeah. Perhaps like it was since we seriously started discussing about whether we should apply for BTO. Yeah, so that was like 2020 November, right? That was when he was like, you know what, like, yeah, I think I'm ready. Yeah. Then ever since then, right, he's been so enthusiastic about the idea of marriage and the idea of having kids. Yeah, so I think that's nice. Yeah,
Yeah, that's quite
the
cute.
the relationship, how it developed.
Yeah. I think, okay, before we go on, we are going to go for a break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about how you know that they are the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. We'll be back.
And we're back. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how you knew that he was the one, or rather maybe how he knew that you were the one. Like you said just now, like it was from the M word to thinking about kids. Like I think there are like many steps between from fearing it to actively wanting it, So like I mean, of course, when you start to discuss the specifics of what a relationship together will entail, I think that makes like the relationship clearer to you, or rather it makes the idea of marriage and what it entails so much more like concrete. So it's not like I don't know what I'm committing to, but rather it's like, oh, I know, like, oh, we're gonna have a house together, we're gonna have like 2 kids, and then suddenly it's like this concrete like image in your head, like, oh, 2 of us sitting on a sofa with our kids watching TV.
Wow.
Or it's like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like
okay,
far.
like yeah,
Yeah.
I can deal with that, and it's like, okay, yeah, I want marriage. Yeah, so I don't know, for the 2 of you, was it that kind of like process, or was it like, I know it already in my heart?
I think like for me, I was always raised with this like very idealistic image of marriage. Yeah, like I feel like dramas and the movies that we watch paint relationships and marriage in a very picturesque way, right? So like obviously every time I stepped into a relationship, I would sort of have marriage in mind if we really got together as a couple and stuff like that lah. Like I would really think of marriage as the end goal, but I wouldn't really voice it out in fear of scaring my partner away. So I feel like for the longest time I didn't mention it to James because I think he was sort of unsure at first. Yeah, which is completely understandable. He was only like 19 going on 20, and I was 18 going on 19. No. I was 19 already and he was 20 already. Yeah, so I think it's completely understandable to be unsure of like where the relationship is headed to. But then for me, what I feel is, if James thinks that this is wrong, then he'll have to put out his own podcast about it. But I don't care. You're not here right now, James. So I feel like it really changed for us once I really started to get to know his family. Yeah. Like, so I grew really close to his parents, and I genuinely really do look at James's parents as my, like, second parents as well. Yeah, I have a lot of love for them lah. And I think he has really great examples in his life as what a marriage and a family could look like. Yeah, so he looks up to his siblings' families. So his siblings, his sister and brother, they're both married and they both have 2 kids. So like it's really like almost like the textbook Singaporean family, like what he looks at. So I think maybe being exposed to that kind of like image for a bulk of our relationship sort of helped him think, yeah, I want this for myself too. And maybe he looked at me and thought, yeah, like I could do this with you. yeah. And I really, I genuinely really do love his family lah. That's why I think if a person has been raised in this kind of like loving, wonderful family, I'm 100% sure that we can like model the example as well. Yeah, that's for me lah. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't believe like getting married to the right person. Like you might have your own like ideal someone, like oh yeah that oppa, like the hot guy, handsome looking guy, treat me so well. I feel like it boils to the fact whether you both put in the effort to keep it exciting, even when like initial spark is like gone, right? But you continue to find new sparks, and then to keep the journey exciting lah. I think coming in like 3 years plus now, she really stuck by me even though I went exchange like 6 months after our relationship. I think it was very hell for her. It was fun for me because like I went overseas lah, right? And when I came back, then I really felt so much love from her lah. And that's when like I decided to like, okay, yes, I really need to put in effort into this one.
So you made the conscious decision to
correct.
really put in a lot of effort.
Correct. Not just go with the flow and then see how things go. I think you get that slight glimpse of the future, like, oh, me, her, 1 dog, 2 cats. nice house. Yeah, the kind of thing. That's why at the start, like once you get BTO, it really you are engaged lah. Yeah, partially engaged.
Okay.
And your eye roll.
Yeah. He don't believe lah, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, it sounds like both of you had like talks about it. Like,
Must have lah.
talk about a lot of things about in your relationship, right? And I think both of you totally agree that communication is the number one thing that keeps a relationship together.
Yeah, no, in fact, like I think I had a really good introspective look into our relationship from this mod that I took in uni called interpersonal relationships. So that mod basically talks about the essence of good relationships and what your relationship styles are like and what makes good communication. And I think one particular thing that I remember from that mod was that the longest lasting relationships, right, are not like those kind of like, oh, sparks fly, I love you, I want you so much, that's last, and then
You're my soulmate.
Like, yeah, we're soulmates and stuff like that. Things like that, as you said, they do fizzle out after a while. Unless you put in the conscious effort to put, keep it going. So that's like, I think that's like lustful love or something like that, or romantic love. But the really long-lasting relationships, right, are the relationships where both parties are each other's companions in life.
Yeah, companions.
Yeah. So you view this person as your companion in life. So whatever that you choose to do, this person supports you in it and maybe like walks beside you as you go on the journey, and vice versa. Yeah, so a companion doesn't even have to be like a typical husband-wife, wife-wife, husband-husband kind of relationship. It could even be like friends. Like everyone in life, right? The essence to really long-lasting relationships is really you just need a companion in life.
Stay by you.
Yeah. Even if the lust or whatever fizzles out towards the end, you will have just so much love for this person because they have been by your side through the good and bad lah. Yeah. So I hope that is the case for my relationship.
And I think just now you also mentioned about how, you felt sidelined by your ex-boyfriends, or like you didn't feel enough agency because you were always doing things that they wanted.
Yeah.
Or
actually maybe I was doing things that I thought they wanted me to do. Yeah.
Oh, that's two very, very different things actually.
I feel
it's very different.
I feel like it's similar.
No, I you know what? I actually disagree with you on this.
Really?
Like, I wanted to use this to segue to another topic, but I can't now.
Oh, wow.
I want to say that, I think it's one thing to do things because they ask you to, and I think it's okay if you feel like I don't enjoy this, or like this is not something I want to do. And I mean, then, sometimes you don't have to do everything together in a relationship. But then when you are choosing to do things because you think that's what they want, I think that's very toxic. Not very, but I think it's a bit toxic because you are placing your own expectations on them, and you are creating an image of what you think they are as a person. You are telling them, not telling, you are
imposing on them.
Correct. You're imposing what you think they are on them, and
That's
sometimes
true.
they don't want what you think they want.
But then now communicate.
Exactly.
Then
Actually,
Correct.
I remember. I think my second boyfriend told me like you assume things.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and I have to say that was true. That was true of me at one point in time. Like because maybe we didn't talk for long days at when he was in the army. Then obviously I would just be sitting in my room and thinking like he doesn't love me anymore.
Meanwhile, he's like digging a fucking hole in the ground.
Yeah.
I cannot do this.
Yeah. No, so honestly, like I don't have the answers to like exactly what went wrong, but I have a gist lah. So I completely understand.
It's okay.
Yeah, the 24-year-old me completely understand why the breakup happened. Yeah, but 19-year-old me didn't.
It's okay. We learn. We grow up and we learn. Yeah.
Love that.
But yeah, I mean, as I was saying, like if you are a person that imposes what you think they want on them, right? It sets yourself up for failure, because then if they don't react the way that you imagine that they would, you end up feeling disappointed and it's like, oh my god, they don't love me anymore. It's like they don't appreciate me, and I think that creates that toxic like expectation and disappointment like a cycle, because every time you do something for them and it's like, oh my god, they don't appreciate me.
Oh, that's
like,
fair.
I buy drink for you, then you never even say like you wanted it, or you say like, oh oh, I'm not thirsty. Then
You
you
don't say-
feel
you
so
don't- yeah.
disappointed because
never
like,
say
oh, I
thank
bought
you
this for
or-
you. Then you never say thank you. Then it's like you don't appreciate me. Whereas like if you ask them, they might have told you, oh, actually I'm feeling like eating ice cream. Why don't we get ice cream together? Then that would have just have been like a fun, enjoyable like date out
Yes,
together.
yes.
But instead you created this like toxic cycle of like, fuck you lah, I buy drink for you, you don't even know how to appreciate me. Then you stomp off. Then after that, you know,
Then
that
the,
whole
then the
thing
other person is like
happened.
left like,
It's like,
huh?
what the
Like,
fuck? I wasn't
what
even
did I do?
thirsty.
Then
Oh.
the worst thing is they get angry because you got angry first. Then,
Oh
then
my
it just
god.
goes on. Oh my god.
So I guess we are jumping into toxic relationships
Wow.
right now.
oh my god.
Oh, okay, but
Yeah, that's why communication is so important, guys.
is.
Yeah, better communicate properly.
okay, do you then have any advice on how to be a better communicator in a relationship? Or rather, maybe not advice, but what do you do?
Oh.
That helped lah.
So I remember James and I, we were taking this evening walk, and he was telling me about this book that he read a review on. He didn't read the book, he read the review of the book.
Nice. Tells you all you need to know.
The essence of the book is on the review, okay? But I think the book was called How Not to Die Alone, or How to Not Die Alone, something like that. It basically teaches you how to communicate properly lah. And one of the most important advice was fight well. Yeah.
Fight well.
Fight
yes,
well.
yes.
Yeah, fight well. Have good arguments and have good conversations. So I completely agree on that because I would say that James and I, we don't fight. Yeah, we really don't fight. It could be attributed to the fact that both of us, we have very chill personalities. We don't really get angry at people. But if we do feel like we are unheard or we feel like there's something amiss, then we make it a point to raise it to the other person. We raise a point, but the person never gets upset. Yeah, so I think he's a lot better at it than I am because sometimes like I really can't control it, but sometimes I cry like quite
Yeah,
easily.
as in
Yeah, and it's
that-
not even
yeah.
like I want to cry or whatever. Like it's just like
Emotions.
the tears just start falling. Yeah, so it could be the simplest of things like when you were at this place, you did this, and I thought like perhaps maybe that was a little inappropriate, something like that, and then I would feel attacked and I would cry. Yeah, actually this conversation didn't happen. I'm just raising as
But as an example.
as an example. Yeah. But one of the best tips to fight well is to use I and not you. Yeah. So you don't tell the person you did this and you made me feel this way and you are always like this and you will always be like this. So that kind of like attacks the other person, right?
Yes.
But when you use I statements instead, it's like, oh, I felt like this because usually I am this kind of person, and sometimes when this kind of thing happened to me, I will feel this way.
Yes.
Yeah, so you don't really attack the person's behavior, but rather you try to explain what you felt, like what
Yes.
I felt from the thing that made you upset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially during like a heated argument, like you don't want to add flames.
Yeah.
So hard to talk after that.
Yeah. So James and I, we really never had a heated argument.
That's great. I think
Yeah.
that's really good. And I totally agree with you. Like but saying I don't. No one likes to feel blamed for something, for anything, especially something that they didn't do.
Yeah.
And especially when it came from a place of good intentions. So when you blame them, I think it makes them feel like, firstly, you're accusing them of not loving them, for example, or it might make them feel that way. And yeah, so I think you know what, I think that's great advice. I don't know, Clem, do you have any advice for us?
I think really one word is compromise. Because she wants one thing, but I don't want that. Then how do you navigate that, you know? Then you really have to compromise, like in a way that I can still do what I want, but maybe at a lower scale, and then you get to do what you want as well. And then we meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. So if you're arguing about something, or like you are telling your partner about this particular incident that made you feel upset, what kind of steps do you take to make sure that that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, and what we can do in the future to avoid that. Yeah, and if that happens again, then what? Since we have been through this, then how can we navigate
Okay,
around
but
that?
then how do you make sure that it's a compromise that is equal.
Yeah, it's a fine balance. Like relationships are always give and take. One person can never always have
Correct.
what they want. Yeah. The reality is in a relationship there will be many instances where you don't get what you want. Yeah, but you have to be okay with not having it.
But then, is it toxic to then be keeping score?
No
You know,
lah,
it-
you
it
don't keep
sounds-
score lah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, isn't keeping score quite
Actually, I
toxic?
get-
But then if it becomes a scenario where you are always the one who is compromising, you are the one who always gives in. That's also not that really isn't really
Yeah,
that
then-
isn't a compromise anymore.
But then that's also on you for not communicating that
Uh,
your needs and wants.
I think
Because
that becomes an arguable point lah. Like I've been
Yeah.
giving a lot, then
Yeah.
I haven't been seeing you doing it. Then there's from there you work it out again.
yeah,
guess.
exactly. Like you don't take the position of the person who always compromises, because that is also on you as well for not communicating your intentions and your needs and wants as well or as effectively.
all right.
Communication, guys.
Cool. I wish we could go on forever.
Yeah, I love talking about relationship.
This is a whole podcast on its own. It's called Naughty Prude.
Right.
Joe just gave us a stare. But okay, I think we have to wrap up today's episode here. I mean, if you enjoyed this conversation, you as in the listener, please leave us like a 5-star review or some shit. I know I'm jumping to the end, but I just have to say it first so we know that you like this topic and then we can come back to it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I would love to come back to this topic again.
We have so much more to
Share.
to
Right?
share.
Like, we've barely covered anything. Barely. But yeah, okay, cool. I think that's it for today's episode. We're going to wrap up here. I would ask you guys if there's one piece of relationship advice you could share, what would it be? And then, just
Yeah.
in one sentence, if possible.
I would end with fight well.
Yes, I think that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah, fight well.
Use eyes, not you made me feel.
That's right. Use eyes, not use.
But one more for the guys. If the girl is complaining, just listen. Don't give advice. Really important. And
It's-
always say sorry.
Be an active listener.
It's that clip, that Phil Dunphy clip. The Phil Dunphy
Yes, from
in
that.
the nail salon clip.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
watch it.
Okay.
Yes.
And just say sorry first. Then after that you can talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I don't have relationship advice for you guys.
Okay.
Somehow.
Sure.
But yeah. Don't gaslight.
Yeah, don't gaslight.
Don't gatekeep. Okay, cool. So if you enjoyed today's topic and if you enjoyed today's episode, please do leave a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcast. Remember to follow and subscribe to this. And also, if you want to get notified when there's a new episode, you must follow lah, huh? Yeah. So share this on your Instagram stories, wherever you want to, post this, send it to your friends. And, where can we find you guys?
You can find me at JinxYou on Instagram, JINXYOO.
CLAMUSPANGG on Instagram as well.
And I'm Ng Yang, NGYIYANG. And that's it for today. Once again, thank you for listening to Adulting with Former Children, and
Bye.
what is Clem doing?
We do have a code, right?
We gave life advice already. Wow.
Oh yes. Bye.
Bye. Do you have insurance? When is he gonna propose?
Bro, it's not investing already.
Hey, you booked a hotel. Buy car again.
Hey, adult already. Hello.